Hello everyone from Center for Tourism Research (CTR) at Wakayama University in Japan. My name is Misato Murano, coordinator at CTR. I'm delighted to share our webinar recordings with you. I hope these excellent contents reach many people so that tourism can recover and develop in a better way. Because this webinar series, named as Wakayama-CTR Webinar Series 2020, aims to contribute to the tourism sector, which significantly suffered from the pandemic brought by the COVID-19. And the theme, Tourism Sustainability and Recovery, Asia-Pacific Expert Outlook, having prominent scholars and practitioners in the tourism field focusing on Asia and Pacific region as a panel. This series shares the latest knowledge and insights around the world in order to build a new and more sustainable tourism environment. The Pacific Asia Travel Association, PATA, UNWTO Regional Support Office for Asia and the Pacific, and Kansai Tourism Bureau supported us to carry out the series. We would like to express our acknowledgement to their cordial support as our important partners. This monthly webinar was moderated by CTR researcher Professor Joseph Chia, and this is our production team. And now, all the 4 recordings are available at our website. We hope these are helpful for both teaching and research for you. Now, let's have a look at each session. Joseph will take you to the highlights.
Thank you, Misato-san. My name is Joseph Chia, as Misato has said. Let's have a look at all of the 4 webinars so far in this webinar series. Our first webinar was appropriately titled COVID, Travel and Tourism. This webinar featured prominent researcher of tourism and crisis management, Professor Brent Ritchie from the University of Queensland. It also featured Mr. Trevor Weltman, Chief of Staff of PATA, and Dr. Hayato Nagai from Wakayama University. Together, they discussed how the pandemic has given the tourism industry a crisis of unprecedented proportions and how we need to try and draw lessons from past crises. Dr. Nagai also looked at the situation in Japan. Our second webinar followed on, titled Recovering Sustainably, Global Lessons for Japan's Tourism Industry. And this featured 4 speakers in their own right across industry and academic research. They discussed, bearing in mind that sustainability is the starting point of tourism development, and for Japan, travelers' needs and the current situation of destinations in the country were examined. Utilizing big data and approaches aligned with sustainability indexes was emphasized. Our third webinar in this series featured Professor Richard Sharpley from the University of Central Lancashire and Dr. Mucha Mokono from the University of Queensland in Australia, talking about degrowth, an idea that was discussed prior to COVID-19 and one that has gained great prominence as the pandemic has taken hold. Together, they agreed that perhaps the concept of degrowth is beneficial for some countries, but perhaps not so appropriate for others, but it still remains a level of importance. Our fourth webinar featured Professor James Hyam from the University of Otago in New Zealand and Associate Professor Debbie Hopkins from the University of Oxford. Together, they discussed the broader idea of decarbonizing travel in a climate-changing context. Professor Hopkins argued an unfavorable trend in academic travels before the pandemic in terms of the environmental impact and discussed the different models to curb emissions. Associated industries, not only academic sectors, are required to make changes, according to both Professor Hyam and Associate Professor Hopkins. Throughout the 4 sessions, we have discussed ideas that center on how we can develop a more sustainable tourism. Implementing such ideas and studies will continue to be developed around the world. And here at the Center for Tourism Research at Wakayama University, we are trying to build ourselves as the hub for tourism research in the Asia-Pacific region. Soon we'll be launching a podcast series which will deepen discussions by interviewing prominent researchers on their work at the cutting edge of tourism research. Furthermore, we are looking to develop an international symposium that draws on the global gaze, looking at Japan from a culture, heritage, and tourism perspective, and bringing all of these ideas together to stimulate ideas amongst practitioners, academics, students, and professionals. Don't miss our initiatives. Please visit our website and follow the LinkedIn page as well for the latest information. We thank you for following us and we look forward to bringing you more tourism content. Thank you.